This weekend was the 249th anniversary of America's very first No King's Day. It's a good thing we don't have to have those anymore. Hello, friends. Welcome to 5225, week 26, where we're talking about American history movies. Just a little up front, this one's going to be very quick, and I know I've promised that in the past, and I know I've even said this part where I said, oh, but it will be this time, then it wasn't. I'm only going to spend a minute or two on each of these movies because I have to have this recorded, edited, and uploaded within the next hour. Because I've got things going on. This last weekend at the time of recording was Independence Day, this last Friday. And Americans all over were celebrating the 4th of July, some of them by celebrating the holiday and celebrating America, some of them in protests, trying to keep the ideals of America intact. I support both sides on how they're celebrating, as long as they are celebrating for the right reasons, which is the rights and lives of Americans and people around the world. That's kind of how I feel. So don't feel bad if you celebrated the 4th of July. Don't feel bad if you didn't celebrate the 4th of July. Only feel bad if you're trying to take away important resources, rights, or lives of anybody. Thank you. Anyway, let's move on to the very first movie that I watched for this, which was a movie I've seen many, many, many times, and that is Hamilton. Of course, this is a pro shot of the stage musical. I do still consider it a movie because what is a movie but moving picture? It's a feature-length shot of a moving picture. It's a movie. Anyway. My history with Hamilton is that I had heard about it. I was like, oh man, that sounds right up my alley, because an important thing to know just for this episode is I have a fascination with early American history. Anything in Revolutionary War time and all that, like, I really have an extreme fascination with all that type of stuff. So I've read into it a lot. I like to consume media that has to do with it. It's just, I have a thing about early American history. So when I heard about this, I was like, oh, I've got to see that. Plus, progressive and it's like and it's a musical. It's ticking all the boxes for me. But of course, I live in Oklahoma, and it was in New York. I was never ever going to be able to go there to see it. So I did download a bootleg shot of the Broadway show, and I watched that many times. I'm not gonna lie, I watched that a lot. I loved it. I listened to the soundtrack all the time, which I did obtain that legally. Then when Hamilton finally made its way to Tulsa, where I live, I took my wife. She had not seen the bootleg or listened to the soundtrack at all, so she was going in completely fresh. She fell in love with it. We are a Hamilton family. My kids have seen it. Like, we're a Hamilton family. We love it. Once Disney Plus dropped, it was like, oh yes, finally. The only thing about something like this is that I have in my mind what it's supposed to look like, but they did that show every single day, of course there are going to be variations. Certain things are not going to be the exact same as they were before. So I had this idea of what it looked like when they performed it live, because I had seen that bootleg. When I saw them actually perform it on stage, they did a great job. The guy who played Hamilton wasn't my speed, so he didn't really work out for me very well in that. But the other people were really, really great, and I think that so I definitely understand when this dropped on Disney Plus and I watched, I was like, gosh, some of these deliveries were better in that other version. Can I show people that other version? regardless of that, it's still magnificent to me. I still love it. I watch it a lot. I still listen to the soundtrack all the time. It's just something that I really, really love. I will say that the first time I watched it on the Pro Shot, the one thing that it did give me was a better look at Philippa Sue as Eliza Hamilton, who brings me to tears most times that I watch it, especially that first time, because it was just like, oh my God, she's so good, and her story is so heartbreaking. And it really is a lot of it is her story. It's called Hamilton, but it's not called Alexander Hamilton. It's called Hamilton. It's about Alexander Hamilton. It's about Eliza Hamilton. So I think that, I really love that show. Daveed Diggs is obviously incredible in that. That whole cast is just so good. And it is a cultural moment that will be tough to replicate ever. Like, who knows if we'll have another thing like Hamilton. There are going to be great musicals, and there's going to be stuff that does get into the public consciousness, but will we ever have another thing like Hamilton? Who knows? I know that it's a lot of that it has gotten that famous backlash from getting popular. I think that's stupid. People get down on Lin-Manuel Miranda mostly because he's popular and they have to naysay. If they have legitimate reasons, that's fine. I love him. I love everybody in this. I love this musical. But I'm going to move on because I said I wasn't going to spend much time. I already spent more time than I intended. I'm going to move on to a Civil War movie called Glory from 1989. Glory came out, as I said, came out in 1989, which got me thinking, like, what a great year 1989 was. I went and I made a list of like the ranking everything that I'd seen in 1989. It's just such a good year, and especially a good year for such a bad movie to win Best Picture, Driving Miss Daisy. And I say that it's not a terrible movie. It's fine. It's just not the Best Picture. I will say that Glory is better than Driving Miss Daisy, and Glory was not nominated. Glory is about a Union soldier who is promoted and put in charge of a rank of black soldiers. And initially, they are just intended to be labor, not much better than what the South was doing, really. They intended for them to do the stuff that the white soldiers didn't want to do. But these guys wanted to fight. They wanted to fight for their freedom. And it's... I will say about this movie, the thing that I think would make it a better, more engaging, more impactful film is if more of it had been told from the eyes of the black characters. It was mostly told through Matthew Broderick's Shaw, his point of view, and I think that if we had seen a bit more from the black characters' view, then we would have. I think it would have been a better, more impactful film. But as it is, this is what we've got. It's these courageous men were heroes, and I applaud them. Most of the characters, with the exception of Shaw, are fictional, white ones and black ones alike. They are just kind of composites of people who did exist, and just kind of characters created for to make this narrative, which the narrative didn't necessarily happen either. So it's. Listen, historical accuracy is a modern convention that people scream about. It's not something that I really care about too much, as long as they are not distorting a message, distorting a good message, or accusing, putting people in a bad light that should not be in a bad light. As long as you're not doing those things, you're just making something for entertainment with some education in it, because even though it's not historically accurate, there is educational value in this and Hamilton, which are both not historically accurate, but they are worth watching. And I think it's a shame that people sometimes criticize historical epics and stuff as not historically accurate. But if it was, it would not be as interesting. And that's just the truth. So Glory is good. I enjoyed that movie. Denzel Washington won his first Oscar for this movie. Andre Braugher is in it, and my wife and I just got done watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and such a talent. It's so sad that he's gone. But anyway, Glory is good. I think it's a good movie. I think that it could have been better if they had focused more on the black characters. But as it stands, it's a good movie, and I think it is worth watching, and it should be watched by people. But I'm going to move on to the next movie that I watched, which is a movie I've seen 1,000 times. Not 1,000 times, but definitely over 100 times. And there's a reason for that. And the movie is 1776. The reason that I've seen it so many times is because I used to work at a video store, and we had the VHS tape there, and we could play things on the VHS as long as they were rated G or lower. A lot of movies that would not be rated G today were rated G back then, so I was able to watch this movie in our VHS player. Now, originally I put it in as a joke because I was like, "Oh my God, it's a musical about the Revolutionary War, about the signing of the Declaration of Independence." I was like, "Yeah, what could that have?" This was 2002, I think. It was before Hamilton. The idea was kind of funny to me, and I had not heard of the stage musical. But I'm watching it, and suddenly I'm like, "Is this kind of good? I think this is kind of good." And so then I would put it in more often, and then I took it home and watched it fully while paying only attention to it. And then I would watch it, and I'd keep playing it at work multiple times a day at work. Plus, it's over 2 hours long, so it really helped the day go by. And I learned all the songs, I learned all the lines. It made the days go by really fast that I could do that. Anyway, there's several versions of this. I think each time they release it on something, they put out a new cut of it because the DVD was an extended director's cut, and then they recently just did the 4K. A couple years ago, they did the 4K director's cut, which is even longer. And I guess it's not longer than the director's cut, but it does have new scenes or new takes of scenes that they didn't have before, which is very weird and very interesting. There's only one part where I was like, I wish Hopkins delivered that line way better in the other versions. But other than that, I really like all the versions. It's just a movie that I really love. If you've never seen it, I recommend. If you've never seen musicals, I recommend it. William Daniels, who played Mr. Feeney on Boy Meets World, plays John Adams, and he's great. Ken Howard, who played the president of Cabletown on 30 Rock, among a lot of other things. But that's usually where I get people when I'm trying to tell them what this is. He plays Thomas Jefferson. Howard Da Silva, who you may not know who he is. He was in a lot of stuff back then. He's in a couple Billy Wilder movies. The Lost Weekend. He plays a bartender in that. He plays Benjamin Franklin, and he's just incredible. The cast is really great. It's a fun movie. It tells a fictionalized story of how the Declaration of Independence came to be, or how independence came to be, how they voted on independence, and how they got the Declaration signed. In reality, they were two separate events. This makes it seem like it was all one event. They voted on independence on July 2nd, and then they went through deciding on the final version of the Declaration of Independence, which ultimately happened probably on July 4th, and then people signed it through September or something but it's a truncated version of those two events and dramatized because nobody really knows. No one was in the room when it happened except for the people who were there, and so it's mostly it came to be out of collections from stories people who were there who would later write about it, and just kind of speculation based on what actually ended up happening, and there's a lot of it that goes into it. It's not historically accurate, but it's also not harmful. It doesn't really do much to anybody in this that would be harmful, because most of the things that they do and say in here are things that they did and said, at least in some way, or at least something they believed. Anyway, it's a great movie. You can tell the influence it had on Hamilton if you watch Hamilton. There's even a line, "Sit down, John, you fat mother." And then it leaps out. The first song in this movie is "Sit Down, John." So it definitely there was an influence there. If you've never seen it, I recommend it. If you're into musicals and if you're into early American history, and if you're into movies made in 1970, because they made different movies different back then. And that's a good thing, but it also can be tough for someone who's just not into a movie from the 70s. It also feels a lot like stage adaptation. Like it feels like a stage play. Most of it's in one location, so it's very much feels like that a lot. But that doesn't mean that it's not boring. It's not for me at least not boring. It doesn't feel stationary. It doesn't feel like you're watching from the audience or anything like that. There is some dynamic work happening, but it does very much feel like a stage play, stage adaptation. So take that for what you will. I love this movie. Have you seen it? Talk to me in the comments about your love of 1776, the musical, please. But I'm going to move on. I said I was going to be quick. I've already gone longer than I wanted, but I don't care. That's just me. But not as long as I thought I might if I didn't rein myself in. So that's important. We are about a third of what I could have done on this. So that brings us to next week. Next week is actually not necessarily a theme as much as it is I'm going to watch a movie series. And that is because I haven't seen the new Jurassic Park movie yet. And I want to, but I want to rewatch the rest of them first because I love Jurassic Park. There's only one that I don't like. I'll get into that next week because next week's theme is Jurassic Park. I'm watching all the Jurassic Park movies, and that will mean they will also include my review of Jurassic Park Rebirth, or Jurassic World Rebirth, which I haven't seen yet. And so officially next week, you're going to get my Jurassic World Rebirth review. Talk to me in the comments. What are some American history movies that you really love? What do you think about the movies that I watched? Do you like them? Do you like musicals about American history? Also, Jurassic Park. Which ones do you like? Which ones don't you like? Like I said, there's only one I don't like, so you're going to hurt my feelings if you say you don't like any of them but Fallen Kingdom. You're not really going to hurt my feelings. You can say what you want in there, please. I just may disagree, but I also might understand. Anyway, talk to me in the comments about Jurassic Park. Which ones do you like? Talk to me about American history. Thank you.